What is up, everybody? I am going live for the second time this week, which is funny because I have a whole story about going live this past week, but definitely excited to be here. Just dropping in for like a hot 30 minutes to talk about the tea and what it means and what we're doing and all that jazz. So feel free to get in the comment section and ask about the tea and ask about, what it is that we're doing and what's going on. And maybe a little later during the whole thing, my sister will pop in and say hi. So we'll see. But ultimately, one of the things that has been really important to our family, and those of you probably know, is that our oldest daughter has this disease called hereditary angioedema. And there's a whole long, drawn out story. I usually tell it around May 16th every single year when we have HAEA Day, HAE Day. And I talk about the journey that our family has had with it, and I talk about, what has happened as we have gone through that journey. And one of the things I talk about is the Hereditary Angioedema Association. And that amazing organization has just been the beacon of light for our family. Like they have been a means of support. They have been just a way for us to have people to be able to talk us through what it is we're dealing with. One of the unique things about the Hereditary Angioedema Association is that they um, it's run by, or the organization, I should say, is run by people that live with, I don't want to say suffer, but they live with HAE. So you're either going to be talking, if you're talking to anybody from the organization, you're either going to be talking to somebody who lives with the disease or they are a caregiver to someone who has a disease. And they are an amazing support system for any family that is going through anybody, whether you yourself are going through HAE or you are caregiving for a loved one that's going through HAE. And so I will admit I'm very, very honest about our journey and how reluctant I was to even join the organization. I am very much a person. As much as you see me like make jokes and stuff on social media, I'm very much a very private kind of in person when it comes to stuff that we are dealing with. And so when we were kind of dealing with Ladybug, as I refer to her on social media, and this disease, I was very reluctant to join. And one of the weird things was that my sister, who is a physician in Maryland, um, found them first. Like she was just like, I found this amazing organization, and I think it could help your family. And I was just like, no, like we don't want to have anything to do with it. And so she gave me the number to the organization, the Hereditary Angioedema Association. And if you want to know more about them, it's hae.org. And I was very like I was completely against it. Like I was just like, I don't want to you know, talk about it. Like we're going to get through this. We're going to be fine. And usually when you're dealing with a person that has a chronic illness, you become very overwhelmed by the treatments, by the diagnosis, by like all of the things. And so I got to a point and when I was in the hospital with Ladybug, one of the many trips that she had taken, and I think it was probably right around the time that we were like, probably about maybe 25 hospital stays in a year. And I just didn't know where else to go. And so I finally got online and I began to look at this organization and see what they were about. And I filled out the information and immediately I got a phone call. And me, I looked at the phone number and I was just like, let me go ahead and pick up because I thought it was weird that my phone was ringing like immediately after I, filled out the information. And it was this incredible woman that was a part of the organization. And she began to tell us what HAEA could do for us. And I, again, even after talking to a person, didn't join right away. Or I joined, but I like did not like receive any of the information right away. Like I was just like, don't send me anything, don't send me any information, like don't do any of that. So I just didn't do it. So I see there are like five of you guys in here. So like feel free to comment, say hey, I'm giving you a shout out or whatever. Um, and so finally, when I really just started to like read about what everyone else in the HAE organization, what they were about, and how there were so many other people that were going through what our family was going through, I realized at that moment, I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is probably something for us. And that was the journey that we began with. The HAEA is just being, they have support groups, they have youth groups for kids that are going through this. Lena, or Ladybug, I should say, has had the opportunity to connect with people her age that also deal with this disease, and this burden that it felt like at first that we were dealing with turned into like this beacon of hope because we were able to talk to people that were thriving in their lives, and they were, not being bogged down with hospital visits, and they were not being, inundated with medications, and they were just living their normal lives with like the occasional flares. And that gave me hope. And so the HAEA has this ability, because they are 501(c)(3), they have this ability for people to be able to raise money to help the organization, because there's so many different things that they contribute to. They contribute to people who can't get their medications, because a lot of times if you don't have the greatest insurance, HAE medication is very, very expensive. There are different programs that are set up all over the country and all over the world that allows for people to have their copays paid for the medication. But the medication can be upwards of like almost $36,000 per treatment. So it's and every once in a while, if you have like multiple infusions that you have to have a month, just think that you're paying like that many times every single month. So they contribute to that. They of course are great resources for families that are suffering. They do travel vouchers for families who want to go to the headquarters to be tested by doctors to see how they can manage their HAE well. They do scholarship money for people that want to go to college that suffer from the disease. Because if you could imagine, usually when you're having a flare up, or when Ladybug is having a flare up, like life stops. This has actually been a very challenging month for us medically for her, and life stops for her. And so, one of the things that I think is neat is that the HAEA creates a scholarship fund so that kids can go to school worry free, because the HAE gives money towards their scholarships. They go to Congress and they demand better treatment of people who do suffer from chronic illnesses that need a little bit more attention. They help us fill out school forms and get different what do you call it? It's a I'm having a a brain fart, but ultimately we can fill out forms that where Lena is not being, punished in or if she misses school. So like there's so many things that this organization does, and so I've been wanting to absolutely give as much as I can and raise as much money as I can for this organization. So last year, maybe it was last year, maybe the year before last, I don't remember. But one particular year, we decided to like help raise money for the different things that they do. So they have like marathons that they run during the year. It's called HAE on the Move. They have HAE Day where they raise a lot of money. Of course, you have Giving Tuesday, and I actively was like helping raise that. And then finally, I decided to do something that we called the Ladybug Tea Party. And so that is one of the things that I'm talking about tonight, is because this weekend on Sunday, December 3rd, at 3:30 o'clock is what the invitation says. We are doing the Ladybug Tea Party. And what it is that the Ladybug Tea Party is one of the ways that we raise money for HAE. And what's great about it is the fact that every single dime, a lot of times when you're purchasing tickets for something, um, they'll say, "Oh, a portion of the proceeds go to, or a portion of the proceeds go to." What I love about the Ladybug Tea Party for us is that every single dime you give towards the tea party or towards donations goes directly to HAE. Like nothing is getting pocketed. We get sponsors for the tea, so that every single ticket that we get or that you fund, but it comes directly to us. So I am going to, let me see. She said she was ready, so we'll see.
Let me tell you something.
You are fired.
Oh,
You are fired.
let me tell you, every single potential issue that could have happened from a technological standpoint happened over and over and over. And let me tell you what didn't help me.
First of all, why is your camera better than mine? Like, I don't appreciate that. Like, the clarity in which you are
No, yours looks great.
lies.
Well, yours looks great, but it's also picking up every single flaw because you have me on a whole school night after a
Yeet.
whole long day. I mean, like real talk. So yeah, like everything happened, but it didn't matter because I was like, I am going to be here. I believe in my sister. I believe in what she believes in most of the
Mm-hmm.
time, and I am
Most of
going
the
to be
time.
here for you.
Listen, you almost got a whole cuss out on the social media.
First, I couldn't. You see this ridiculous like because I couldn't find it didn't work in my office. So I
Yes.
have no fancy background like yours is fancy, show off. And I have like my mic is downstairs, like the whole thing. It was just but I was like, no, we're gonna do this. We're gonna
We're
talk
gonna
about
do
this.
this.
We're gonna be here.
Listen,
Can you even hear me?
very well.
Well, I
Like,
guess clearly, because you've been
because we've been
talking.
engaging. No, we were just talking to the peoples. We got 5 people and a love apparently. Um,
Okay.
right. I was just telling people about the tea as my asthma starts to make up. Now some people about the tea and how last year was our very first tea. Like we've been doing like
Yes.
fundraisings like quietly with HAE and like joining them or whatever and like whatever. But like last year, I came to you and I was just like, I want to do something a little bigger that like belongs to, not necessarily belongs to us, but like something that shows how grateful we are for this organization. And
Right.
so I came up with the Ladybug Tea Party. Actually, it got inspired. I should probably talk about the explanation of how it got inspired. I went to an event
Wait, this I
here.
think this is gonna be a new. I don't think I know.
You do
I
know, because I called
okay.
you that night.
Okay.
I went to an event in Huntsville.
Oh, I remember the football
Yeah,
event.
where the speaker was Drew Brees, which is like
Yes.
a football player, and
I love
there
how
was
you
just,
like a football player. Yeah.
well, I mean, he's an incredible quarterback.
Yes.
What the pause happened because I couldn't remember for what team, but it's New Orleans. He was a Saint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And no, but I went to me and hashtag the boyfriend went to this event,
Mm-hmm.
and we were had great tables or whatever, and people, it was a fundraising event for an organization here in Huntsville that does incredible work for the youth.
Yeah.
And the tickets themselves were like pretty they weren't cheap, but we're just like, whatever, it's for a good cause. But you get in there and they're like raffling a car, like a no,
Oh.
like I think it was like a Toyota like it was an electrical, like it was a huge,
Okay.
it was like a car. It was a car though. It wasn't like a, oh, it was just like, but you had to pay like so much money in order to raffle for the car. They
Mm-hmm.
were having silent auctions. And then they got to the point during the thing, and this is what really got me. Where they were just like, we're gonna auction off signed footballs by Drew Brees, right? And they were just like, okay, fine. So they start doing this auction, and I think they had like X amount of footballs. I don't even remember how many footballs they had, but they
Mm-hmm.
had X amount of footballs, and they were just like, okay, Drew Brees was going to sign a football, and the first football went for like $800,
Oh, one
which
football.
the first football.
Okay.
And I remember sitting there going, first of
Hmm.
all, I need to get my life together because
Wait. Did you bid on said football?
Then on football, my kids needed to eat that month and every other month for the rest of the year. But so somebody bid like 800, on the football. And it might have even been 1,000. I don't remember. I think it was it was very high. It was between $800 and $1,000. And so Drew Brees signs the football, and then he's handing it to one of the young people at the organization that's going to take it out to this person's table. And mind you, we're in a venue that has like an easy 400 people in it.
Oh,
easily. And it was a banquet. So just, do the math, 10 people at a table. And so now that I've said that, I think there was way more people in there. But anyway, listen, it matters to the story. So the person that's getting the football's table is like all the way in the back of the venue. And so Drew Brees is about to hand the football to the kid to run it to the back of the venue. And the guy that won the auction yells out from the table, "Throw it to me." And
he told Drew Brees, "Throw it."
He said to Drew Brees, he was like, "Throw it to me." And so the place like comes to a stand. Listen, $800. He wants the football thrown to him. And so the place like goes, like the place laughs.
Yeah.
Because like you just asked the Super Bowl winning quarterback to throw you a football indoors.
Yeah.
Right? Wasn't even like we were in a whole venue, and this is a black tie. So it's not like everybody's like dressed, like people were in tuxedos, full gowns, like the whole 9 yards. So Drew was just like, "Are you serious?" And the dude in the back of the venue was like, "Yeah, throw it to me." So Drew Brees rears back and throws this perfect, like I have never seen a pass in person this amazing and accurate. Like it, like the arch on it and everything, like he put it right in the dude's chest.
I mean, you all were at a black tie NFL game with only one, without a team.
With a quarterback. Wait, because you said that because it got like extraordinarily worse. So the guy catches it, the place cheers. So then the next bid on the next football won for $1,500.
Of course.
And now it was less about the fact that you were just getting a ball from Drew Brees. It was the fact that you were catching a pass from Drew Brees. And I mean, people were paying $800. I literally, a couple paid $600 for their son to do in a tuxedo, to do a running pass. So Drew Brees, literally, the guy ran past the stage, and Drew Brees was just like, "Make sure you turn around at the right spot." And the dude turns around and like catches it like in the chest. Like, so I'm watching this whole thing happen. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Because in my head, I'm just like, oh wow, what an amazing experience, right?
Of course.
But the mathematician in me is just like, by the time that piece was over, they had raised almost $20,000 just off of Drew Brees throwing footballs to people. That's it.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there and thinking about the HAEA. Yeah. And I was looking around the room, and I was looking at people that were paying like $400 per table, and 10, you had like the platinum donors and the gold donors, and you're watching this thing scroll. Their goal, I think, was to make $50,000 that night, and they obliterated it. Like they made like $100 and some $1,000. And I think they've had Serena Williams come in one time and think, I don't think she hit tennis balls at people though. They would die.
They would die. A whole day.
They would, yeah. You can't take a tennis ball to the chest from Serena Williams.
Oh,
but
no.
I was right. But I was looking at that thing, and I was just like, we could do this. The organization that we were for that night is world renowned. Like everybody knows about it. Yeah. But the way HAE, or hereditary angioedema, is set up is that it's rare and nobody knows about it. And you and I have said all the time that the reason why it's rare is because nobody talks about it.
Exactly. You took the words out. I was about to say the only reason why it's rare is because nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Nobody talks about it. And so, I called you that night
Mhm.
It was in July, and I was
I
just like,
remember. No.
I wanna do a fundraiser, and we gotta do something for Hereditary. I wanna do something. And so that's when we came up with the concept of the Ladybug Tea.
The Ladybug Tea well, I tell you, there are going to be some differences this year. We're not going to give away a whole car. Maybe we can give
You know
away
what?
a.
We're gonna give away a tractor, and now nobody will come.
Okay, no, I'm kidding. No, but there are some differences from last year.
Yeah. So
So
last year we started really small and kind of like
yeah,
homegrown, and it was wonderful. I don't have any of the pictures to show you. You're just gonna have to imagine. It was really, really great because we have a what we call the Kentucky Derby theme.
yeah.
You are not about to show pictures on your phone. Are we gonna be that hood? We probably are. That's fine.
Wait, let me tell you. So
Um,
let me tell you, we are already that hood. The fact that I am not in the space where I normally am, I'm in a corner in a random place of the house with a pillow that doesn't match. And so no, we will be that hood. But go ahead. I'm gonna pick.
but we had a Kentucky Derby theme where people wore hats and ascots and suits, completely out of the year time of year, and that's what I love about it.
Absolutely.
Like it's out of the time of year that should be doing that, and we don't care. And not only we had silent auctions, we had giveaways, we had music, and we had tea, and we had
Mhm.
a food and all of the things, and
Very good
we
food.
very good food, and then we mingled, and it was amazing. And I think we set out to I just set out, I think, to raise $1,000, and I raised three,
Yeah.
which is huge because that's great. Like, to me, that was, like, really, really great. So, you and I talked, and we can't go from, like, starting very small to having a venue with over 500 people in it where people are bidding on $1,500 footballs. But we're gonna get there one day.
We're gonna
But
get there one day.
we're gonna get there one day. Look at you showing. So that's, like, you can't even get it. So, yes, that's our tea party.
It is our tea
And
party.
between the people that actually the people that showed up and the people that donated online, was incredible
It
because
was.
that they were the reason why we were able to raise $3,000.
Yeah.
Actually, it was over 3,000. I think it was like 3,400.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's what the cool thing is this year, because you have a new venue,
I have a new
which
venue.
is gonna be really exciting for those who wanna come through. You have food, different types
We
of
have
food, so we're expecting some
food.
great things. You still have the auction that you're gonna do, the
We
silent auction.
we
The
still do the silent
difference,
auction.
and I don't know if I missed this already, if you already said,
No, you didn't.
but the
You weren't that late.
difference is we want people to show up and mingle and just kind of hang out. And you
Mhm.
have the option of donating when you get there, or just hang out however you want to do it. But at the same time, for those who are like maybe out of the state or the city, they want to participate in the live auction, you're going to post the pictures beforehand so we can
Correct.
do the silent auction both online, and those who are there can also compete to
Correct.
see. And these are great, great. I mean, I know you're not going to say what it
We're
is,
not
but
gonna tell the people what it is.
it's fantastic, and I think we're all super excited about it. One of the things that I thought was really cool last year is that they really got a chance to hear the story and the journey of the Jones family and of
Yes.
Ladybug, which I know you were sharing in the beginning.
A little
So,
bit. Hi, Sister Lampkin. Thank you. She's always been a great supporter of our family too. She's one of the first ladies at First Seventh Day Adventist Church here in the city. So thank you, Sister
oh, we got
Lampkin.
to see her with her hat on. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to
Yes,
see
you
her
got to
this
come,
Sunday.
Sister Lampkin, with your hat on December 3rd.
Yeah, we need
We
to see the
we the,
hats.
we love the hats and the dresses and the whole 9 yards. But go ahead, you were saying sharing the story of.
Yeah, I think sharing the story, because one of the things people need to understand, first of all, although this is a fundraiser,
Mhm.
100% of everything that's being donated is going directly to the association, which you mentioned before.
Correct.
And it's really good to hear how this association really supports families.
Yes.
Because it takes a village. I remember, and if I can tell your business,
Go ahead. You know we don't care. It's
I
only
re-
for people watching. Go ahead and tell the business.
it's for people watching that is, but it's gonna. Let me tell you, I believe to this date,
Yeah.
anything that you have done in front of a camera is recoverable.
Right.
It is
Exactly.
discoverable, including, you remember that one time we were singing, I will never forget. We were singing one time for the radio. Savior lead me on.
Oh, were you messed up?
I am 100% sure that when I run for attorney general, which would no, but that somebody in Congress is going to say, "Well, what about the time you came in on the alto note wrong?"
Don't you even got to say nobody in Congress. Your sister knows exactly where that recording is because it's digital, and
It
I'll
is
play it.
digital.
Be
It
like,
is
this
digital.
my sister, y'all. This what happened that one
Mm-mm.
time.
But I do remember though. I mean, this has been a journey for you all for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was interesting because in my head I was always like, I want them to find an answer for
Mm-hmm.
what's happening with her symptoms. Like, why is she having this swelling to the point of difficulty breathing? Why is she having all of these allergies? Like, what is this? What is this?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt the sister in me, the auntie in me, the physician in me just thought that once you got the diagnosis, we'd be good.
Listen,
And
isn't that what we all think? Like once the medication comes and once the diagnosis comes, and then I have a headache, I'm gonna get aspirin, it's gonna be gone. I
it's
have
going to be
strep,
gone.
I get antibiotics, I'm gonna be finished.
I'm going to be done.
My leg is broken, they'll put a cast on it, everything
And
is
I will
good.
be done.
Right. That is what medicine has taught me.
That
That
I
is
think
not that is not what HAE is at all.
that honestly, that's not, if you think about it though, once you get that x-ray that your leg is broken and they put that cast on, you are so not done. Because after those 6 weeks, you haven't been using that leg. So now
True,
you gotta,
but
and you have to get what? You have to get support. You gotta figure out how to do it. I mean, heck, even when you have the
that's
cast
true.
on, somebody's gotta help you go to the bathroom. So the same thing with the HAE when you all got the diagnosis. And I remember talking at one time and I could hear and feel just how overwhelmed you were.
Mhm.
And I was like, there's there's gotta be support out there.
Mhm.
There has to be. And to, find HAEA, talk to the person. You, I think, ended up talking to the same person.
I did, yeah. So I think what happened is that they were kind of waiting for me because you had talked to her,
Yeah, I
but
can't remember her name, but yeah,
I want to say it was Lori. I
it
think her
may have
name was
been.
Lori.
Yeah.
And that's how tight knit the community is. Like they keep in touch. It's really incredible. But what was interesting is that they weren't going to reach out until I reached out. Like they weren't
Mm,
going to say, "Hey, your sister called us and said that you're in the fetal position on your bathroom floor." Like they weren't going to do that. They were waiting for me to reach
yeah.
out, and I
Yes.
fought vehemently against that. And I remember you telling me, like, when you told me about them, we were in the hospital. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't like a fly by night, like, hey girl, guess what I
No.
found on the internet? Like we were legitimate. You called me, and it was one of those, it was back in the day when we were doing them 7-day Johns. Like we would go
At
in on a
best.
Sunday at best. We were
Yeah.
coming out on a Sunday morning. Like we lived at the hospital. And
Yeah.
what's interesting is that I remember I was talking to somebody recently and they had no idea. And it's because I didn't talk about it. Like
No.
we would come out of the hospital with her and we'd be
Mm-hmm.
home for about 2 days, and then
Mm-hmm.
everything would flare back up again and we would
And
have
you
to
go
go
back.
back to the hospital. And and the only thing that saved her school wise was because this was right around the beginning of 2020, right after the
Yep.
world shut down. And
Yep.
because everything had to go virtual, that was the only thing that saved us. Because
Yeah.
had this been during an actual school year, and I think her second semester, she missed 60 days of school.
Oh.
Second semester,
60?
60.
Okay, how many days are even in a second semester?
I know there are
70?
180 days for students.
Okay, so like 90?
Yeah.
That's wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize she
Yeah.
missed that many days.
Yeah, and the second year, it was about 45 days in school, technically, first
Yeah.
semester. But that, we were dealing with this thing, and that's when we kind of knew what it was, and they knew the medication that could help, but we weren't necessarily getting like we weren't getting the medication sent to our
Yeah.
house like we were supposed to. We weren't getting the preventative meds. So we were solely reliant on the infusions happening at the hospital.
Yeah.
And it was devastating, like, every time. Like, at one point, I had a bag because you suggested it. I had a hospital bag packed, and she would come in the room, and I would look at her, and all I'd have to do is roll over, grab that bag, grab her bag, and we get in the car and go.
Yeah. It
Like,
was
we
sad that
lived
you were
it.
having literally to treat it like patients who are awaiting, to go into labor. They just have
Yeah,
that bag because you knew you all were going to have to go.
we
That
were
was,
gonna have to be there.
but I knew that, you know, this was not the norm.
Mm,
And
mhm.
then for you to finally connect with them. First
Yeah,
of all, can we pause? Can we stop for 1 second? I love, and I think I've heard the story and with a part of the story, to some degree. I
yeah.
don't think I realized that they were like waiting for you to call. They weren't like, we're gonna come and get you. Like,
They did
we're
not.
here for
No.
you.
You told me about them,
Yeah,
and I waited
yeah,
to fill out the information on the website.
yeah,
Probably about a good month or so. Like, I'm not saying like I waited a couple of weeks. Like, it was like a month of still being in and out of the hospital.
yeah.
And then finally I filled out the card, and I hit send, and then my phone rang. And somebody was clearly sitting at their computer in that joint. I'm pretty sure it was Lori. It came across, and she called me, and I was like, "Hello," and she was like, "Hi, Danita." And we talked for a little while, and
Oh,
she's like, "I'm pretty sure I talked to your sister." And that's how I was just like, "You all were waiting for me to call?"
yeah.
Like, y'all were waiting for me. And really, that's what matters, I think, too, and just support. You can't force somebody to take your help.
They have to
I
come when
tell
they're
my kids
ready.
that they have to come when they're ready. I
Yeah,
tell my kids all the time here in my house, I'm just like, "You can't tell people how they need to be helped. They have to tell you how they need to be helped."
I know the kids.
And so right, yeah, exactly. And so that's what happened. And
Yeah,
even when we talked, um, I still was like, "Mm-mm." 'Cause this disease is quite overwhelming, and when you're going through it, what you don't want to invest in is the idea that you're in the marathon of it. Like, you're
right.
hoping
Yeah,
this still a sprint. And so I waited like another month or so. And then
yeah.
finally one day, I told the story a couple days ago, I came home with her from the hospital, and on the dining room table, this is like the summer at this point, on the dining room table, there were some overdue library books, and they were overdue because we had been in the hospital,
So many
right?
times.
So, hashtag the boyfriend, who's my husband, for those of you that don't know, was managing the other three. And so and nobody really cares about library books when this person's got to go this place and this person's got
Right.
to go this way, and he's working from home, and you have to we're still in like the summer of 2020, so nobody's really leaving the house for real. So I came home, and these library books are like 10 days overdue. And so I bring her home, I put her to bed, pick up the books,
Mm.
I go to the library, and I return the books with the understanding, because the library itself was not like open.
Right.
You could check out the books and that's it. And so returning them, you had to put them in the little book drop. And I put them in the little book drop, and then I'll never forget this. I pulled into a parking space, and I just sobbed on the steering wheel.
Mm.
And I tell people all the time, I was just like, it's that thing where people are just like, you were crying over overdue library books. And it's the same
Mm.
thing as like people like saying, don't, it's
Cry over
no need to
spilled milk.
cry over spilled milk. And I'm just like, no, when the milk spills, it is like the straw that breaks the camel's back. Like, you're not crying over the spilled milk. You are crying over every other thing that has happened, and then the milk spilled. And
Right.
that's kind of what happened with the library books. Like I was crying not because they were overdue. I was crying because they were overdue, because a person like me, who is like a stickler for time,
You are?
you know what? But I was crying over the fact that I was in this perpetual loop, and this
Right.
was the one, the one thing you should be able to control is turning in library books, and I
Yeah.
couldn't control that. And this is how, and this is gonna get a little spiritual because we churchy. It was one of those things where I know God sees and
Mm.
hears,
Mhm.
because I'm sobbing on my steering wheel and my phone rings, and it's Lori from HAEA.
Mhm.
And I look at it, I know it's her because now she's in my phone.
Mhm.
And so I'm doing like this, like it's about to be a FaceTime, even though it's not.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, hello, because we're really good for that voice. Hi, hello, it's Danita.
Mhm.
And she was like, hi, Danita, it's Lori from HAEA. And, she's really chipper. And she's
Mhm.
like, just calling to check on Ladybug, because everybody, I refer to her that anyway.
Mhm.
And I was just like, oh, we've had a really rough week. Last week sucked, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. And I was still living in this thing. And for anybody that's watching, you have to be careful how you think you're comforting people.
Mhm.
Because one of the things that was really hard for me is that when we would try to explain to people what was going on, um, two things would happen. Either we found ourselves in the one-up Olympics. I don't know if you've ever found yourself in that, where you're just like, this is what's going on with my daughter. And then people would be
Oh,
like,
but wait, wait,
girl,
wait. That happened to me too, girl. Wait, Danita, that just, I was in a whole car accident 3 weeks ago.
yes.
And I was telling somebody my car accident, had a concussion, couldn't talk. Oh, girl, me too, girl. Let me tell you about my. And I'm just like,
It's like, how does
like mine is
nothing,
fresh. Yours is
this is
20
not
years
a
old.
contest. This is not a contest.
Right.
And so that would happen where people would be like, oh, yes, girl, but I grew out of it, girl. And I'm like, what, like that? No, this is happening to us currently.
Right.
Either that would happen, or people would, somebody said, Devin said nothing. What's up, Devin? She said, yes, you're absolutely right. Nothing worse than the one-up Olympics. I hate that. And like, y'all, we should stop doing that to people. I know that there's really a fine line between sharing your experience and trying to match a person's trauma. Like, don't do that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Don't do that. So I was dealing with one-up Olympics.
Mhm.
And then and so that would happen. Or I was talking to other churchy people, and they'd be like, girl, what you got to do is get on your knees and fast. And you got to get on your knees and pray, girl. You just have the faith. And I think what they didn't realize is that we had been on our face about this for
Yes.
years. What was manifesting now when she was like 9 or 10 years old had started when she was like 3 or 4. And we just
Right.
didn't know what we were looking at. And so this wasn't something that we were just like, oh my goodness, we need to go, we need to pray harder. And they were kind of inferring that we needed to pray harder and fast more. So I was sick of those people.
Wait,
I was
that's some old school. The reason why bad things are happening to you right now is because that's some
girl.
old school. Yeah. Oh, that's tough.
People need to stop doing that. People need to stop doing that, because
You
the
know,
thing about it is that, go ahead, because I
go
know
ahead.
you a
No, no,
whole doctor. I think what people don't realize is that people were seeing snapshots. I was telling somebody this recently, because if they made the comment, they were just like, "Oh my gosh, Danita, you have it together," and I'm like, "Oh, I don't. I'm a mess." Like I'm a whole
no.
mess.
Mess.
Like you're seeing me in Instagram shots. Like
Right.
I'm a whole mess.
Right.
But one of the things that I realize is that people don't actually see like what a person is going through. So
Mm.
to infer that the reason why they're going through what they're going through is because they just need to pray harder is a horrible thing to say to a person, because you don't know what
You
they've
don't
been
know.
doing.
Yeah.
And
You said two things though, Danita. It was actually three, at
did I?
least.
Oh my bad.
You
That is
said two.
three things.
You said the one up
The one up
contest,
Olympics.
and you know you need a little bit more Jesus.
Hmm.
I thought you were going to talk about when they said, "Oh, she got what? Let me give you this little mixture of garlic and carrot juice, snipped with urine of a
Listen,
fly,
the
and it worked."
homeopathic advice,
Like, no.
oatmeal baths, girl, you just mix a little ginger, a little bit of spinach. She's allergic to spinach. Okay, a little bit of kale. Be like, oh, it
Matter of
just
fact, no.
changes on a dime.
Nobody's really allergic to spinach. Just give a teaspoon at a time. Yeah, no, that
No,
was
so you're right. So we were going through all of that,
yeah,
and right in the parking lot of the library, when I was in tears and dried it up to try and talk to this woman, and she was asking me how the month had been going, and we had
mhm,
had a terrible month. Like, if we if we weren't on a family thing here, it was a cuss words amount of month. It was awful. And so I was telling her that, and then she said to me, she said, "How are you doing?"
oh
And people would think that in this moment where I've had this moment a few minutes ago where I'm sobbing on the steering wheel and somebody finally asks me that knows what we're going through. Because
yeah,
again, as I told you all at the beginning, HAEA is run by people who live with this disease or are caregivers for people with this disease.
right,
Knowing that, you would think that when this woman says, "How are you doing?" that I would immediately burst into tears and tell her that I am heartbroken and I am overwhelmed and I don't know what to do. That is not what happened.
no,
I went plumb off. Like, I went on this full 15-minute rant about
right,
people and how angry I was and how this disease didn't make any sense and how nobody understands what we're going through, and it's not getting better, and I don't see any of it getting better, and the doctors don't know what's happening or what's going on, or they do but we can't get the medication we need. Like, I go plumb off on this woman that I have never met to this day in real life, but who is like a shining light in our family.
mhm,
And when I got done, I actually said, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell." Like, I said,
oh
I said, I didn't realize how overwhelmed I was at that point." And she said something to me that to this day I carry with me, and I tell other people no matter what you're going through. She said, "Here's the thing, Danita." She says, "There are two truths."
mm,
She said, um, "It will get better." She said, "I have HAE. I've been living with it for however long I was diagnosed." She told me her story, this, that, and the other,
mhm,
blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't a one up, right? She was saying, "This is my story of the disease that your daughter has. This is what we went through. This is what was going on." And then she told me her age and what she did for a living, because everybody that deals with HAEA, like, they also like have careers and stuff like that.
right,
And she said, "So I can tell you that it gets better." She said, "But it sucks right now."
second truth,
She said, "And it's okay to live in those two truths." And that was how I was like, I need to be a part of this organization,
yeah,
because nobody else would acknowledge the fact that it sucked right now. Like,
right
nobody
here,
else
right
would,
now,
right in that car,
right,
nobody would be like, "Oh," nobody was saying, "Oh man, you all were in the hospital again? That sucked." Like, nobody would say that.
right,
Everybody was always looking to the future of, "Oh, it'll be fine. Don't worry. Be patient. Everything's gonna be," and like, everybody was doing that, and you're still living in the awfulness of it.
yeah,
And so I thanked her. Excuse me, she said to me, um, she gave me a number,
mhm,
and she said, "I want you to reach out to this woman." Or she gave me an email, actually. She said, "Reach out to this woman. This is the support group that I think you should join, of moms who are taking care of HAE patients and HAE patients."
mhm,
And I remember clicking on the support group that following Tuesday and just seeing the faces of people that knew what our everyday was like.
yeah,
And it was at that point I was just like, I am going to do everything in my power to make sure that, number one, everybody knows about HAE,
mhm,
but that everybody knows about this organization.
yeah,
Everybody, and I do everything in my power to raise money for them. So that Drew Brees story, when I called you, I was just like, we got to do something. We got to
mhm.
get to the point where we're having somebody throw footballs at people's chests for $1,500.
Well, I mean, and to support, yeah, to support the organization because they support you. They support
Yeah.
families like you. They I love that. I like the fact that, she provided the information for, you said the mommy group or the
Mhm.
caregiver group.
The support, the peer group, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love the fact that after you had to sit and explain to Ladybug that this doesn't go away after puberty,
Yes.
and she needed her own support, then she also have a support group at her age,
Yep.
and because she also needed to be around people or hear experience of people, that have and go through the exact same thing that she goes through, so she's not alone. First of all, I love the fact that um, she was so engaged that they got her on one of the little webinars, or it was something
Yes,
that
that
she
is
had
the
to do,
truth.
which was so hilarious because it was a bunch of kids that were her age. But
Correct.
I love my little niece. She's super smart, but she got in front of that camera, and it was just like, so tell us exactly, what it feels like, and she would, say whatever she was gonna say. And then when it was the other person's turn, I promise you, this is all I saw. You know.
No,
So hi Daniel. So
you can hear Danielle.
yeah.
That's our four-legged child.
To where like I hear
Are you feeding
there's
him bell
some there's
peppers?
another person near you, huh?
Take those. Yes. The guest of honor of the tea, actually.
Hi, guest of honor of the tea.
Go ahead. I would have never known about HAEA if it was for yeah. So here's the thing. We didn't know either, Devin. Like we didn't know either.
We didn't know.
We had no get him because he's dropping it on the floor.
Daniel is trying to be in. Daniel is trying to be a part of the Ladybug Tea fundraiser
He is,
as
but that's
well. We're gonna
because
have to
Ladybug is
incorporate
feeding
him.
him bell peppers. Um, Close the door.
Can you actually
Uh-huh.
feed doggies bell peppers?
Yes, they always check before. Yes. Yeah, we didn't know either. And what's crazy about hereditary angioedema is the fact that probably more people have it and don't realize they have it
Oh, for sure.
because
So
it is
so
misdiagnosed constantly. But we had no idea.
so let's
Now
talk
that
about. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I would say now that we know and we've seen it, we're like, oh no, our mom had this.
Oh, she
Like
had.
there is no doubt that not only did our mother have this, but we're pretty certain that her siblings did also. All of them, Devin,
All
we're
of
pretty
them.
sure had them.
Yeah, I had some.
And because it's hereditary. And what's funny is that there is an aspect of it that can mutate, just like sometimes a generational thing has to start with somebody. But the more we have been able to witness this and the more we've been able to look at what she's been going through, the
Mm-hmm.
more that we've been able to see what her flares look like. We hear sometimes what she is complaining about. One of the what they call a prodrome, which is like a signal that your body gives you to let you know that a flare is coming,
Right.
is that her hands feel like they're falling asleep or they tingle. And that was like a common complaint that our mom used to have. And
Did.
she would just kind of like, oh, my hands are falling asleep. And so, when I hear Ladybug say it, I'm just like, dear Lord, this woman had a whole chronic disease that was misdiagnosed because of other, health issues that she had. And we even talked about like there's a whole aspect of racism in medicine,
Systemic
systemic
racism.
racism in medicine. Because I remember one of the many times that we were in the ER because Ladybug had swelled and being very transparent, a white doctor accused me of Munchausen by proxy. Is that what it's called, Gina?
It is.
And it can feel like itching, Devin, because that tingling sensation that you can't scratch it, or scratching doesn't. It's almost like it's happening from the inside. I've heard a lot of people say like, "Oh, I'm itching from the inside," like that. It can feel like that. Um, but Oh,
Like
I
an
don't know if you
allergy,
can see
like an
the,
allergic reaction.
like, yeah, it feels like an allergic reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's amazing
But
to see, but
that's just a prodrome
it is a prodrome to what's
before
happening later before the
the
swelling starts.
swelling. Yeah.
Which can, I've heard, the many times that somebody was just like, oh my goodness, I got gout in both my hands. You'd be like, wait, that doesn't happen symmetrically. Like there's something else going
Really?
on there. So, but yeah, there was a white doctor that accused me of Munchausen by proxy. Her exact words to me were, "What are you doing at home that's making your daughter do this?" And as a Black woman, when you are faced with that question and you recognize what they're saying,
Mm-hmm.
you have the choice of going plumb off and recognizing that law enforcement will absolutely be called.
Yeah.
Absolutely be called. Like there was not you once you because it was a very much I could feel the rage coming. And I recognized immediately that if I said to this woman or just raised my voice a little bit,
Yeah.
it it was about to be me and the police in the hospital. And it would have been so unwarranted, because she was absolutely wrong. I don't think I've ever seen that woman again, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember just telling her, I was just like, "We are not doing anything." Mind you, though, this was like our third ER trip in a week.
Yeah.
And because Ladybug has HAE type 3, which is the rarest of it, of the HAEs, um, it can't be detected through a blood test. It's all clinical. And so it's not like they could say, "Oh, we found that her ladadadas are too low." Like it's not like that. So it really takes for a very caring physician to look at the situation, which we were able to find, praise the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
and go, "I know what this is." But I just remember that, finally having that come to several ER visits later when we were there for the same thing, and I remember, uh-oh, I think I lost her. There you go. Happening with your kid?
I had to sneeze like violently, and I
Um,
didn't want you to stop. Go ahead.
oh, but no, I remember talking to a resident of color. Wasn't a Black guy. I wanna say he was Latin, I believe. It was resident.
A physician,
A
resident
ph No, it
physician,
was a position. But it was a resident because it was like one of those months where
a
they're just
resident.
letting
Uh-huh.
the residents, like, do rounds. And he looked at me, he was like, "What do you think is wrong?" And I said to him, I said, "We are fighting something that's inside of her. I just don't know what it is."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "I think I need to send you to a local allergist." And that is how we got to the local allergist here in Huntsville, who walked into the room and saw Ladybug and was just like, "This is above my pay grade. Let me send you to my friend
Right.
in Birmingham." And that's the Birmingham doctor is how we finally got diagnosed. So, I'm saying all that to say what's scary about this disease is that it can be in your face, but
Right.
the wrong people, when they're seeing it, whether it's nurses, whether it's doctors, whether it's techs or whatever, um, it can go misdiagnosed for so long. I think the average age for HAE to be diagnosed, I believe, is late 20s.
Yeah, and people need to understand it's not like, one or two things. It can manifest in so many different ways. It can manifest in just random swelling of any part of your body. And people think of maybe just swelling of the ankles, swelling of the hands. It can be the ear, the feet,
Mhm.
the lips, it could be anything. But on top of that, it can include swelling on the inside of the body.
Correct.
So people may have, difficulty breathing all of a sudden. They understand why, because there's, parts of their throat that are swelling, or
Mhm.
all of a sudden there's this stomach ache.
Right.
Pain.
That's so bad, it feels like you're having appendicitis. There have been 2
That's
times I think that we have taken her to the hospital because we were just like,
didn't they actually think she had either appendicitis or constipation or
they
something
thought she was
after they x-rayed
constipated.
her?
They did an X-ray. They're just like, "Oh, she's constipated." And she was just like, "No, I'm not." Like, "I'm
As a
not."
kid, she was like, I know
And
how
then
this
she was like,
works.
"Nuh-uh." And they're like,
Right.
oh, yes, you are. And that's because when the intestines are swollen, that's what it looks like on the x-ray. It's going to look like you're constipated. And that was like two, three separate hospital trips by themselves because the pain has you like doubled over.
Yeah.
um and so there's gastrointestinal issues. Like it's a whole, what's funny is that every time we talk about it, I'm like, wow, this is this is a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
This
And
is
you know,
a
and it's
whole
not
thing.
and you know me, I have to say this in defense of the healthcare providers, there is difficulty
Hmm.
diagnosing. It's not like asthma.
It
Like
is not.
what's the common symptoms of asthma? Cough, chest pain, difficulty breathing. But it's all right here. You know,
Yeah.
when you have somebody who's like, my hands were swelling and tingly, and then the next day they're like, oh, my stomach hurts. I couldn't get into my shoes because my feet felt too big. What? You know, it's but I think that's the importance of supporting organizations like this that support families, but they also help in education for physicians. One of the things I loved about this
So let me
organization.
let me pause for a second because Devin actually asked a great
Oh,
question. So
what
Devin,
she
before
said.
you go, one of the reasons why we're on this live is because we do have the Ladybug Tea Party that is this coming Sunday at 3:30 o'clock, where you can dress up, have tea, food, or whatever. But if you can't make it, this website right here, there it is. There it is. Point down, Gina, because it's below you. fundraise.haea.org/ladybug tea. We're trying to raise $5,000 for this organization. And you can give a donation there. It is completely tax deductible because they are a
100%.
501c3. They are a 501c3. And even if you give a ticket, donate money, if you bought a ticket to the tea party, if you donate money because you can't make it to the tea party, every single dime that you donate on that website goes 100% to the HAEA. This is not part of the proceeds.
Nope.
All of the proceeds go to
100%.
HAEA. So visit that website, donate, tell your friends, share it, and help us lift awareness. But go ahead. You were saying that they educate physicians. That's so important.
Well, I mean, I think that we've talked the majority of the time of how they are supporting the families, how they're supporting the patient. But when you have when you have something that can present in so many different ways, um, you know, manifest differently with the person's symptoms, then the physicians need to have this on their differential diagnosis. Meaning, if somebody comes in with a stomach ache, they have to think appendicitis. You know, does the person have a gallbladder issue, constipation, irritable bowel, HEA?
Mm-hmm.
And they won't think of that rare disease that can be debilitating and life threatening unless the word gets out. So I love the fact that when you really got involved and, you know, they were kind of prepping you on how to talk to the school nurse,
Yeah.
they gave you information. They were like, when you go to the school, hand them this and, you know,
So
let them
yes,
know
we
that they
talk
can
about
get
it. I forgot
CEs.
about that. So they have what is called the HAE medical or ER toolkit, because there are
That's what I
other
was thinking. Yeah.
places that don't know about this. So like even
Yep.
here where we live, where the pediatric ER and pediatric floor of the Women and Children's Hospital, Lena is one of three people in this area. And when I say this area, I mean like northern
Not just your
Alabama,
city.
not just my
Right.
city, but northern Alabama. From what we know, there's one other pediatric patient that has it that lives very close to Birmingham, but they live
Mm-hmm.
closer to where we are, that has it, and one adult. And if you think about just the metropolitan size of like, we're talking like Madison, Huntsville, Decatur,
Now the
Franklin,
largest city in Alabama.
right, correct. Like you're talking everything above Birmingham, and there are three people that have this disease. So because of that, the hospital here in Huntsville has to keep the emergency infusion medication that is necessary to stop a flare um, on in the pharmacy. They have to have it. So when we go to the hospital, if she's in the middle of a flare, they actually make it at Huntsville, Maine, um,
Okay.
the main hospital. and then they send it on the hospital trolley to women and children, which is
But
really
tell them
really
about
cool.
the toolkit, though. Tell them about the
But the
toolkit.
toolkit, what it is, it's literally this packet that they give you in this folder that has HAE toolkit. I looked over that way because I'm just like, do I have one? Because I always have one like laying around,
Yeah.
like ready to go, like it's ready to go. And what it is that like it has a poster in it that when you open it all the way up, it shows the different areas that can be affected by HAE, the swelling. It lists all of the symptoms. It lists the medication that's necessary. It has a contact card in there for the people that you can get in touch with. It has a letter in there to let you know, the ins and outs of the disease. It has a list of people you can like. It is amazing, and it's free. So you could literally like go to haea.org and order the ER toolkit, and they will send it to you for free.
Yep.
Because people don't understand is that when we travel, we have to travel with this medication. We've been blessed to be able to now have it in the house, and I've learned how to do IV infusions. Crazy here at the
That's a
house.
whole nother live.
Listen, and but when we travel, we have not only do we have to travel with like a medicine cooler or whatever, we travel with this packet just in case we have to go to the ER. But let me tell you what else HAEA does for us. If I have to travel, this happened to us last summer or this past summer. I called HAE and I was just like, hey, we're traveling to Florida. And I told them the city. HAEA called the hospital that was closest to our hotel, told them about Ladybug, and made sure that they had Baronert in the pharmacy
That's
just
it.
in case. That is what this organization does. That is why we need for you all to give to these people. That is why I'm trying to raise $5,000. Is because just the fact that you all don't understand that how life threatening this disease is when she can't get the medication that she needs. So the fact that they were able to call ahead, talk to the physicians in the ER, tell them, you know, everything about it. And of course, we release that information because, you know, HIPAA. But we give them the information they need. They make sure that they have it. They tell us where it is. They tell us where the hospital is. They email us that information. So even though we never used it, just the idea that if we ran into any trouble, we would know exactly where to go where we were in Florida. And they do that for everywhere. We went to Indiana one time. They called the hospital up there. So we are just really excited. And then they offer some amazing opportunities
Well,
because
wait,
like
wait, 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 wait. Let's go back. Let's go
yeah,
back. Let's go.
yeah,
Because I know we're going to be getting off soon, but still, um,
yeah,
I don't think that people recognize just how phenomenal it is, though, to have a rare disease, like you said,
mhm,
and to be able to walk into a hospital, and the hospital already knows you're there. The doctors already know. You're not having to guess. You're not having to be potentially um, you know, saying, people claiming that you have Munchausen by proxy, or,
right,
I mean, it's that comfort level is amazing. And like I
mhm.
said, they close the loop when it comes to educating and preparing everybody. But I think you were going to talk about what I wanted to hear you talk about anyway, some of the other stuff. I almost said it, but I'm gonna wait and see if you
Well,
mention it.
we're talking about what's so the HAEA, one of their biggest things is connecting people all over the world that has this disease.
Nope.
And so
But go ahead. That
what
that
were you
wasn't that.
gonna
That
talk
wasn't
about?
it. But go ahead. No, that wasn't it.
Well, now I want to know what she was gonna
I'm
say.
gonna tell you, but you gotta tell them this. I'm gonna
Well,
tell
well,
you.
okay.
You gotta tell yours.
Well, now I don't know if I want to tell. I don't know.
No, what you're about to tell them is really good. Oh, I know what you're about to tell them, but no, that wasn't what I was gonna tell them. Go
Oh
ahead.
wow, I'm shocked. And so they have not only do they have like a headquarters, I think it's in San Diego where you can come and get further testing.
They
They
also
have
have one in
come
Virginia.
Oh wow, yeah. They have come meet us once a month where people can all get on Zoom. They have a now they've gone back to in-person once a year meetings in Florida where everybody can come together for a weekend. And then they have a world one where everyone in the world can come together that
Hmm.
has HAE and caregivers of HAE patients. And they are meeting this year in Panama,
Yeah.
and me and Ladybug have the opportunity to go to that one, like passports and all. So we are
I
very
can't find
excited
the little
about
thing
doing
to
that.
do the little fake claps, but yeah.
I don't right, right. In March of 2024, we're going to be going to Panama and meeting people from all over the world, because this is a there is no cure for this yet. They are dedicating everything to research the cure and see if there's a better way to live. Because right now, the only there are different ways to have what's called preventative medication, which cuts down on flares. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make them completely disappear, but it allows for a person to kind of live a life where you're not in and out of the hospital every day, and has been a lifesaver for us. And then but they still are only the emergency medications are still intravenous, so you can't kind of get around that piece. And so they are constantly doing research to see how they can further improve the care for people that suffer from hereditary angioedema. And so that's one of the reasons why fundraise.haea.org/ladybug tea. You can either purchase a ticket for this weekend's event, or you can just donate. It's completely tax deductible. Listen, we're in December. Y'all got a little extra money you can give and write that thing off
Yeah.
in January, February, when you're trying to get the taxes in for the 2023 year. But what were
Get
you
that
going to say?
refund. So
Right.
I was going to say something a little different, but I do appreciate that you brought up the youth program. So they call it the HAEA youth program. I'm cheating,
Yeah.
and like you're talking about the CARES kit, the Brady Club, which
The
Lena Bug.
Brady Club. Where's my Brady Bear? Here's my Brady.
Yes,
So yeah, I have Brady Bear right there. HAE Brady Bear.
the Brady Club, which she would just get like these little cute um, care packages. I thought that was super cute.
They would send one every quarter, and she would get like puzzles and coloring books that explain, her disease to her, and pens and water bottles and like stickers. So yeah, it's really cool.
They have a create a school packet, which kids who have questions, you can also give it to the people there. They have educate the school nurse, like I said. They even have instructions on the 504 plan.
Yes, we're excited about that too, which is necessary for anybody that is suffering from this disease, because there are going to be times when you're going to miss school. Like
Yeah.
it's not if, it's when. And what the 504 plan does for medical health is that it brings all of the teachers together, and the principal of the school, and you all have an incredible meeting. You get to talk about HAE. You get to give them the packet that kind of explains everything. You sign off on it. So what happens is that when a child between kindergarten and high school misses class, they are not punished by like having to come back after being gone for 10 days and have to take a test. You
Yeah.
know, the school works with them by law to be able to do that. And so the HAEA actually can walk you through that process, which they're amazing at that. And you
Hmm.
talked about the school nurse kit, which the school nurse that Lena has this year is incredible. The school she is at right now is incredible. But the nurse like put the poster up in her office that
Hmm.
like lets her know, and she's very aware. She went home and read about it more. Like once people hear about it, and they're very curious about it, they're just like, what is this? Like, I want to
What
know
is
more
this?
about it.
Yeah.
And that helps. One of the other things, I do need to mention this because it's so important, because whenever she's having a flare and it's time sensitive, we're at a point now where when we go to the ER, and Lena is scanned into the computer, it sets off an immediate, like protocol to get her back and get the medicine into her right away, because time is of the essence.
Yeah.
And we unfortunately learned that for the two times we ended up in the ICU, before we kind of knew what was going on. In fact, that second visit to the ICU is when we finally figured out,
Yeah.
because the doctor called in and said, try this medication, and it worked. And so, yeah,
So I
yeah,
have
yeah.
one more.
Yeah, one more. Go ahead.
This is what I thought you were gonna say.
Okay.
Maybe you said it before I got on and I was having technical difficulties.
Probably not, but go ahead.
The Pam King HAEA scholarship programs.
So I did mention it, but I had forgotten the name of it. The
Yeah.
Pam King HAEA scholarship. So you all, I did mention this a little earlier for those of you that are just joining us, but it is a full scholarship to a student's any school of their choice. It is a full ride to that university.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things that you don't ever want to have to worry about as a kid in college is how they're going to pay when you are suffering with a disease like this.
Yes.
Um, they have you apply for it. They have different recipients every year, but a part of the money that goes to the organization goes specifically towards that scholarship.
Yeah.
And just to see the winners and how amazing it is. Everyone has an incredible story to tell, especially if you go to the website. HAEA.org is the actual website. The one
Mm-hmm.
that you see at the bottom of our screen is the one that directly gives towards this fundraiser, that we're trying to raise that $5,000. We're trying to raise that $5,000 because we want to continue this amazing organization's efforts,
Mm-hmm.
because there are more people like our family out there. And there are more people like Ladybug out there. And there are more people that need to learn. There are doctors that need to learn. You
Yes.
may have a family member where we're talking about some of the symptoms, about like feeling like the hands are going to sleep all the time, or the numbness or the tingling in the hands, the swelling in the feet, the swelling of the lips with no explanation, or like after you take ibuprofen, or something that swells and Benadryl doesn't help, or an EpiPen doesn't help. Like, listen, find you an allergist
Find you a whole allergist.
and
Let me
and
tell you.
say, hey, I think I heard about this weird disease and I want to know if maybe I have that.
Listen, we are excited about those who have also already supported for this year.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to celebrate them. Should I say their names? Can I? Yes, no,
You can
maybe
say
some.
a few
Well, some
names.
of them.
Some of them are anonymous, but we can say the ones that are actually that we can actually see on our website.
Yeah, so we are excited about T. James Jackson, who is supporting this
Yay!
year.
That's Bishop.
Cheryl Sullivan. We got
Yes.
family that it's Miss Stephanie Page and Marva Martin,
Mm-hmm.
cousin Cookie, Miss Jane Fain, who supported last year and wore the most beautiful hat. She and Miss Cherie Humphreys,
Yes.
Marsha Cantrell, um,
Yay.
Sister Kneek Nugent. We pray thanks for her, who supported. Did I say it right?
Kanik.
Kanik.
Yes. Nugent.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I
Yes.
said it right. Okay. I was just like, and I'm on a whole live. Hi,
Right.
Kanik. Joshua Clemens. Um, Yay. Miss Cherie Humphreys again. Miss Edith Woods. She supported.
Yay.
Miss Sarah
Yay.
Brown and Andrea Boswell, and for all of the anonymous people as well. We thanks for their support. We are only about a little under $3,000. So we've raised over almost $2,000 already.
Yes.
And we only have a few more days, but hey, it doesn't take but a second.
It doesn't
And
take but a
just
second.
for
And listen, even if you can't come to the tea, which has
yeah,
great food and great music and great people,
great venue.
um, yes, a great
And
venue. We're gonna
prizes. Did you talk about the door
and
prizes?
we are gonna have like some prizes. Yes, absolutely. So
Yes.
what's fun too is that we this year we are very excited to partner with the Foundation Coffee House here in Huntsville, Alabama, Black owned business here, which we're really excited about, and they have been amazing. And so we're excited about them. So that's the new venue that we're going to be in this year. And yeah, but if you can't come out to that, listen, support. Find a
Yes.
way. Every little bit helps, because we want to make sure again that all of the things that we named, and we named so much stuff, and
So
we
much
need for you
stuff.
guys to know that everything that we named that the HAEA does for families is free to the families. We've
Yes.
never, the only thing I've ever paid for is the sweatshirts, because I wanted them and I love them.
But
Like,
you
that's
know,
the
even
only, they have apparel, but they send Ladybug that stuff for free.
they
But
do.
I, yeah, I pay for the like, they have some great clothes.
Yeah.
They like it's great. But they help families for free. It is no cost to families to join the organization. It's no cost to families to be supported by them. In
Hmm.
fact, one of the other things that's amazing is that when they do have the yearly meet in persons, they actually offer stipends and what's the travel
The
vouchers for
travel
certain
grants.
families that may not be able to afford to come.
Yeah.
Like they spend the day in Disney World. Like it's just this organization is amazing, you
It's
guys. And so
amazing.
we want to make sure that you support. So we're not going to keep you long. We said an hour. It's an hour 14. I think we did good. Technically, it's an hour from when you got on.
I was gonna say it was an hour because it took me 14 minutes and 53 seconds to get on because of, let me tell you, that's the first of all, I will never agree with a person who is a producer to say, I only need 10 minutes
That
to
is
go
exactly
from
what you
one
said.
meeting to the next.
Because I
Nothing
asked.
worked. I know you asked.
I
I
was
know
like, "Are
you
you
asked.
sure?"
Let me tell you, I couldn't change clothes, makeup, nothing. I was just like, you know what? We're just gonna come on.
And you're here and you're excited
And I'm
because, like
here.
you said, you actually said it, and it's very true. You have been very much a part of this journey with us. Like you have been on the ground with us. I think the only thing you haven't had to do is administer medication.
You don't want me to do that.
Oh, look at that. We know
What?
this person.
We come on now. Come on now.
That's our daddy, you guys.
That is our daddy. Hi,
That's our
daddy.
hi, daddy. I'm his
Giving big
favorite.
money.
So yay! So thank you for
And
your
he talk about
you
look.
all's you all's contribution.
You telling that man's business. So first
I'm
of
not gonna
all,
tell his, I'm not gonna tell his business.
don't tell his business yet. It's not out. First of all, you talk about a person with you. That person right there.
Listen, Cleveland
Stop
Thaddeus
that.
Wilson. We said his whole government name,
The whole
better
government
known as
name.
Murphy. My father, just being the so he doesn't live too far from us. Um, has been we could not again you said it before about it taking a village. We could not have survived this without him.
No,
There have been
no way.
times where my husband hashtag the boyfriend would have to go to work. We got to get the kids to school. I'm at the hospital with Ladybug, and it is literally a phone call,
Yeah.
like waking him up at 6 a.m. and be like, "I need you to go get the kids," or "I need you to pick up the kids." Or there have been times, especially this year and last year, where I'm just like, "Daddy, I got to go teach a class. Can you come and sit at the hospital so
Yeah.
I can teach my morning classes at Alabama A&M and then come back?" Like he is that guy. I that is a privilege. I'm not even
Yeah.
gonna lie. Like I very much recognize that we are privileged in the aspect of having not only him being right down the street, but being willing
Right.
to be able to be like, because I'm not gonna lie. There have been times that even he's had sleepovers at his house just so we could take a break. I will never forget there was one time where we were in and out of the hospital for like a solid 2-3 weeks.
Mm, mm,
And um I think she was still in the hospital, and so PJ went to the hospital,
mm-hmm.
and daddy came and got the rest of the kids, and he was just like, just go to sleep. And so he took them out of the house, and they were out of the house for hours because I hadn't had any uninterrupted sleep in like
Yeah.
almost a month.
Yeah.
So it is imperative to have villages, but I recognize the privilege I have of not only having daddy, but even my in-laws, here
Mm-hmm.
in the city that are
Mm-hmm.
willing to step in and be like, what do you need? And I do have to shout out a lot of my different friends. I have some people that like they hate it sometimes when I'm just like, no, I'm fine. But like Andrian, Gianna,
Be careful. You're
Tracy
not gonna remember all these
Preston. I'm not
names.
gonna remember everybody, but they're like very specific people where they were like Phyllis. They were sending food to the house because they would be like, Danita, what do you need? And I'm like, no, we're fine. Knowing that nobody has the bandwidth to cook.
Nobody.
Like when you've done almost like a week a week in the hospital, which we started calling the hotel because the hospital took on such a negative connotation. You don't feel like cooking, you don't feel like doing anything, and so for your doorbell to ring and it's, a delivery from
Spaghetti.
DoorDash, you know,
Or even better. Yeah.
yeah, or it's the Olive Garden or it's the Cheesecake Factory, and you're just like, and there's just a note just saying, "This is so you don't have to think tonight."
Yeah.
Danella, again, she's one of the other ones. It's just like, here's so you don't have to think tonight. Here's so you don't have to worry. And so people like that are what helps us, because this is not something you can go through alone. So we're grateful and thankful to those people that are persistent in their chasing, because you have to chase Danita to help her. I'm not even gonna lie. It's true.
Stop running.
No, probably still won't stop. You have to chase Danita to help her. And so I'm glad that I have friends out there and family out there that are willing to pursue, that are willing to just be like, we're coming, or we're going, or, we're helping. And so we thank you for that. So again, fundraise.
Wait, I always get.
You're terrible at this.
I know. Like, how does Vanna do it? I'm just gonna do
There
like
it is.
this.
Yeah, fundraise.haea.org/ladybug tea. That is how you donate to the tea. That is how you buy tickets to the tea, and all of the proceeds go to the Hereditary Angioedema Association, which is a 501c3. We are so grateful. Listen, you've had a long day. Me too.
I gotta go get some water.
Listen, Scrubs and Stage Lights fans know that cue.
I know.
Got to go get this water. So this is going to be up. You can give all the way in order to be able to put it on your taxes. You give all the way, I guess, until the 31st.
Till the 31st, if you wanted to count for this year. Yeah.
Yes, but we want to make sure that we raise that $5,000. So help us get to that $5,000 mark. I know we can do it. I know we can do it. We're gonna do it. We're excited. And for those of you that are coming, we will see you at the tea on Sunday, because she'll be here too. She's coming to hang too at the tea. Yay. Meet Gina in person. And we'll see you guys then. You all have an amazing night. And thank you so much in advance for all of your help for the Hereditary Angioedema Association. Y'all have a good night.